Hi, this is Kathy Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this month's Project of the Month. It's Kayla's Travel Purse. Now I want you to double left mouse click on your Floriani icon on your desktop. Now this month I am using Floriani Total Control Professional to create our project in, but you can create this project if you have Floriani Embroidery Suite as well. Now I have double left mouse clicked and it is going to open my Floriani program. The first thing that will come up is our My Floriani Today screen. Now if you have an active internet connection, it will come up and it will have the new free designs of the month. Remember, every month Floriani gives you 5 new designs as our thank you for being a Floriani customer. This is also how you get to your software support, your support forum. If you want to sign up for webinar trainings or find out when the next one is. So on here you have a lot of good information. We're not going to use this page today, so I'm going to left mouse click in the upper right hand corner to close my program. Now on the top toolbar, if you wanted to open this again while you were working for some reason, all you have to do is left mouse click on My Floriani Today and it will always open that screen back up. If you do not have an active internet connection, this page will come up telling you you're not connected to the internet. It does not affect whether your program will run or not. It runs whether you're on the internet or not. Now I want you to come up into your upper left hand corner to the icon that looks like a piece of paper. We're going to open up a new document screen. Now notice your icons are pretty much grayed out. That's because we do not color on the wall. If you want to color, you need a piece of paper. So left mouse click on our piece of paper and notice when it opens, my icons that are available to use are now in nice bright color. Now the first thing we always do is we want to set up our workspace so it will work for us. So I want you to notice I am in inches right now, but you may be in metric. So you can take your cursor and put it anywhere along this ruler bar. By right mouse clicking, you can decide whether you want to be in inches or metric. Now today we're going to work in inches, so you would left mouse click on your inches. Now we're also going to set up our grid system and we're going to use the snap to grid today. So we are going to, again, right mouse click anywhere along your ruler bar. I want you to left mouse click on the words grid settings, and now you have an options box that has come up. Now the first thing I want you to make sure is you have an option here that says maintain aspect ratio. Make sure that you have a check mark in that box. If you do not, all you need to do is put your cursor and simply left mouse click. That will either add or remove a check mark in your box. Now today we are going to have the snap to grid. That means when I make a straight line, it won't allow it to be wavy. It will snap it and pull it taut straight across. We are going to now say okay. No, we're not. Excuse me. We also need to set up the size of our grid. And today we're going to set it up for 0.25, quarter of an inch grid system. And I want you to say okay. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do an in the hoop project. This is going to be a fully lined zippered purse, over the shoulder purse or travel bag. I made a travel bag for my granddaughter. She was going to Washington and needed something to carry her money, her ticket, her passport in, and she's young and was traveling as an unaccompanied minor. So instead of the bags that we could find at the stores for traveling, I made her a cute little bag. And I thought it would make a great project of the month since it's travel time for most of us. So let's come up to our artwork tool. I want you to, it's on your top toolbar, I want you to left mouse click, and I want you to left mouse click on the word rectangle. Notice you have a rectangle or a square stuck to your cursor. Now this is an artwork tool. Our properties box on the upper right hand corner tells us this. It says we're working with artwork, and we could make it a filled in piece of artwork, but we just want a line. So we're going to put our cursor at our upper left hand corner, hold down your left mouse key, and just drag until you have a rectangle on screen. Now this is artwork. We are going to now tell it, this is going to show us our zipper placement. So I want you to come to your top tool on your left hand toolbar. This is our select tool. It is the top arrow. It looks like a little arrow. Left mouse click. And notice we now have control boxes all around our artwork square or a rectangle. Now this is just artwork. Remember, it's like we drew it with a piece of a pencil. It's not going to stitch out at this point. Now notice there's a little X in the middle. I want you to put your cursor on that and it will turn into a hand. I want you to hold down your left mouse key and drag this down and center it in the little target. Now if it's not exactly centered, hold down your control key on your keyboard, and using your keyboard arrows you can kind of just arrow this till it's perfect. We've set this because we're going to be using that we can see this is at 0 and 0, and we're going to use that in today's lesson. So once you've got your artwork rectangle centered, I want you to now, with it selected, right mouse click, and we are going to come to the words convert to, and we are now going to convert this to a run stitch. I'm going to left mouse click. Notice now in my properties box it says I've got a stitch length of 3 millimeters, and it's a standard stitch, which means it's just going to stitch a straight single stitch. Now I need to tell this what size to be for my zipper placement. So you notice the word transform in your properties. Let's left mouse click on the word transform. Now notice it says maintain aspect ratio is got a check mark. We are now going to remove that because I want to define width and height myself. So left mouse click and remove the check mark, and we are going to tell this to be 5.5 wide, and I want it to be 1 inch tall because our zippers are just a little less than an inch. I will now left mouse click on my apply button. That will change the size. You notice if these are 1/4 inch grid system is what we set up. Notice that I've got 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1 inch. Now with that, it's larger than the screen. So if you come up to your top toolbar to where it says 200%, this is your view or zoom box. Left mouse click on the down arrow and tell it to fit so you can see it all on screen. Now what's going to happen is this will stitch out and show us the placement for our zipper, but then we're going to need to tack our zipper down. So we are going to create a tack down stitch, but I want one end open. Where I've created a complete box here, when I tack that zipper down, I want one end open so the end that my zipper head is on won't be stitched shut, because when we lay this zipper down it will be zipped up. So I want you to come and get your run stitch. That is the second icon. It looks like a backwards S. On your total control it looks like a backwards C in your Floriani Embroidery Suite Pro. I'm going to left mouse click on it. Now I am going to come down in the bottom left hand corner. I am going to change the color now for my next stitching. I'm going to put my cursor on color number 2 and right mouse click. Notice color number 2 will now have a black box around it. We are going to change colors every single time. because we want our machine to stop in between steps. Now you can use I stitched my entire bag out with one color, but you need your machine to stop so that you can go ahead and put the next piece for your bag in. So we are going to start on the left-hand side of our screen, and we're going to come down 1/4 of an inch. That's why we have this grid set at 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to left mouse click, and notice it will put down a blue box. I'm going to pull, and notice what I mean by snap to grid. Notice how nicely this grabs on to one of the grid lines. And when I get to the right hand side, I'm going to left mouse click. I'm going to come down 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, and now I'm on this 1/4 of an inch line. Left mouse click, come back across and left mouse click. Now you have 4 points, and all they are right now is a path. We have created a path for our stitches to walk along. Now to make that path turn into stitches, we are going to right mouse click. And you can see now in my sequence view at the bottom right hand corner that first I have my first square in blue, and my second stitch line is in red. So you can see now we have created a placement for the zipper, and now we have created a tack down. Now the next thing we want to do is create the bottom half of the bag's stitch down. So we're going to come up again to our artwork tool. Left mouse click on your rectangle, come down and go to color number 3 and right mouse click. Again, just draw a rectangle on screen. Doesn't matter the size. Once we have created that artwork, notice in my sequence view, now I have a color number 3, it's green. If I click on my little plus sign, it'll show you I've only got artwork. If I left mouse click on the word artwork, it selects it just like if I'd come up and left mouse clicked on my select tool. Now with this selected, we need to transform the size. So we are going to come up to the word transform and left mouse click, and now again here is our ability to change the size. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 5 3/4 wide, just a little wider, and my height, I'm going to make this 6.35 inches in height. Now let's apply that. Now obviously it is now bigger than my screen, so again come up to at the top where you have your zoom or view, left mouse click on the down arrow and tell it to fit. Now what I'm going to do, the reason I had you line this little X up in the center is I want to keep everything centered now. I am going to move this down, and notice I have 0, 0, 0 up here. My box is a little off. That's okay. I'm going to hold down my control key, just shift it over till that lines up. But we are going to move this down till it's just almost exactly on top of our zipper stitch down. Now with it here, I have got this green box selected. I am going to go ahead and make sure that it's lined up in the center by holding down the control key on my keyboard and using my little arrow keys, so I know that I have the same amount on either side. So we have got a piece of artwork. Remember, this isn't going to stitch out yet. So now we're going to right mouse click with our green box selected, and we are going to convert to a complex fill. Now this is totally filled in with stitches, but now let's look at our properties box. It says fill type is standard and a tatami pattern. Where it says fill type, I want you to left mouse click on the down arrow and I want you to go to the word stippling. Left mouse click. Once we've got stippling, I'm going to apply, and this is now going to change to a stipple because we are going to quilt our layers together with batting on the top of our bag so we have a nice little quilted bag. Now my density is 3 millimeters. That is about 1/8 of an inch in between the stipples. That's too small. It'll obliterate any pattern I have on my fabric, and I don't need that kind of quilting. I'm going to change my density, not my stitch length, my density, to 10 millimeters. That's almost 1/2 inch in there. Now I'm going to apply. So now instead of stippling, I've actually got more like meandering. So this is the bottom half of our bag. Now we are going to create the top piece of our bag on the above our zipper. Again, I want you to come down to your color bar, right mouse click on color number 4, and come up to our artwork tool. I just love this tool. It makes everything so easy and perfect for us. Again, we're just going to draw a rectangle. Select it. Let's transform it. And again, we want the width to be 5.75. And we want the height to be about 1.5. Mine ended up on my actual bag about 1.53. So you can put 1.5, 1.53, somewhere in there. And now we are going to apply. Again, I'm going to kind of scoot this over. I want to make sure I want this on 0. Remember, I want this little X on my 0 because I want it lined up. And now I'm going to pull this down. Again, I'm going to lay it on top of the line that's going to stitch my zipper down. So on top of my red line, or just right at it. Again, I want to make sure that you stay centered right here with the 0 so that it's equidistant on either side. Now remember, this is still artwork, so we're going to right mouse click, convert to a complex fill. Again, under fill type, I want you to drop down the box, select the word stippling, and change your density to 10 millimeters. Apply. So now we have our top of our bag, the bottom of our bag. Now what we're going to do next is I added a ribbon across the bag so I could put a little framed monogram. Let's come back to our wonderful artwork tool. Prior to going to our artwork tool, let's come down to our toolbar, our color bar, excuse me, right mouse click on color number 5. Get your rectangle tool. We are going to draw another rectangle. It's in yellow this time. Select it. With it selected, we are going to transform it. I want it to be 5.75. And I'm going to I've got the height at 1 inch. I'm using 5/8 inch ribbon. Depending on the size ribbon that you have is how you're going to make the height. So let's just, for this, let's go ahead and leave it, let's put it at 0.75 in the height. And I'm sorry, Let's put it at about 0.65. And the reason being is I want to make sure it's a little smaller than my ribbon because I don't want these placement lines showing outside my ribbon. So I'm going to make it about 5.65 and I'm going to apply. Now I'm going to bring this down. Now wonderfully we have all of our placement lines, our grid lines. So I'm going to come down a quarter, a half, 3/4, about 1 inch below my zipper. And I can do that easily because of my grid lines. So I can see that I'm 1 inch down from this red line down here to the top of the yellow. And it's easily centered. I'm centered with 0, 0. I can see on each side. Now I'm going to, again, right mouse click because I've got to convert this artwork, and I'm going to convert it to a run stitch. So that is going to be the placement line for my ribbon. But now I'm going to need to tack that ribbon down. So I'm going to go to put my cursor on it. I'm going to right mouse click. I am going to copy, right mouse click, paste. Now I have a yellow line right on top of my other one. You'll notice in my sequence view under my color number 5 I've got 2 run stitches. So with it selected I'm going to go to color number 6 and right mouse click. So notice I now have a yellow and then a green, and they're identical. So one will stitch out, it will stop, I will lay my ribbon down, and then it will stitch it down. So now we are going to create a nice little oval and or circle, and we are going to make our monogram. Now I want a circle that is 2 inches tall, but we're going to use the artwork tool again because it makes everything turn out perfect. So I will come down, and I want you to go to color number 7 now and right mouse click over on your color bar. Come up, left mouse click on your artwork and get your ellipse. Now you're going to notice you've got a little circle stuck to your cursor. Now I want it to be a perfect circle, and the only way I can make that happen is if I hold my control key and my left mouse key down and drag. And notice now it draws a perfect circle. Let go. There is my artwork circle. Select it. And now let's transform. We want to maintain the aspect ratio on this one. So I'm going to select maintain, and I want my circle to be 2 inches. Apply. So now I have a 2-inch circle. Now I'm going to bring this down. I want it to be at 0, 0, and I want it to be centered on my ribbon placement. Now if my ribbon placement, I can now select my circle, and in my sequence view, if I hold down with my circle selected and hold down my control key and select my color number 6 right above it, now I've got both my circle and my ribbon placement selected, so I can right mouse click and tell it to align the center. So I know that this is centered perfectly. Well, I'm going to undo. Notice I moved one of my rectangles that's stitching my ribbon down. So let's undo because we didn't want to do that. Actually, I think I'm going to need to move them down anyway. No, I've got enough room. I've got room. Okay, what we needed to do is we need to select color number 6 first, and then hold down our control key and select color number 7. And you'll see why. When I align centers, it did it again. Let's undo. Isn't it nice to know it doesn't just happen to you? What I'm going to do is select all 3. Color number 5, hold down your control key. Color number 6, hold down your control key. And color number 7. Now, right mouse click and align centers. There we go. Now everything is fine. Nothing's moved crazy on us. Now go ahead and just select color. Click anywhere on your screen to deselect everything. Select the color number 7 in your sequence view again. Because remember, this is still just a piece of artwork. We are going to right mouse click. Now, I have used the Apple-Stitch tool and the Apple-Stitch fabric. Now, your dealers do have Apple-Stitch fabric. If they do not have it in stock, it can be ordered. So you're going to need to make a decision here. I love Apple-Stitch because it's perfect, goof-proof applique. You cannot make a mistake. I'm going to use Apple-Stitch, but if you do not have Apple-Stitch fabric or cannot get it readily, you can pick applique. I am picking Apple-Stitch. So I will left mouse click. The Apple-Stitch fabric is absolutely wonderful. You will love it. But if you don't have access to it, you can make this an applique. Apple-Stitch for me. And now I have created an Apple-Stitch. Now whether you have applique or Apple-Stitch, you are going to, now that you have this and it's selected, you're going to want to break this apart. So you have 3 different colors for your lines, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're going to right mouse click, and we are going to go to the words break up path and left mouse click. Now in our sequence view, let's come to our sequence view, and you see where I have my color number 7. I am going to click on my little plus sign. Now notice I have 3 run stitches and an applique-stitch. If you have applique, you're going to have 2 runs and an applique. My first one is going to be the placement line. Let me zoom in on this for you so you can see this. You notice there is my placement line. The second one is my tack down. The third run stitch is going to be your trapping stitch for your applique-stitch, and the fourth one is your applique-stitch, but they're all the same color, so your machine is not going to stop. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to color number 2, and I'm going to right mouse click on color number 8. Now come down to your next one, your next run stitch. Now here, what I'm going to do, I've got a run that is first your color number 7, then we've got, that's our placement, then we have our tack down is our color number 8. Now I'm going to change my third run stitch, which is my trapping stitch for applique-stitch. If you're using an applique, you won't have this one. I'm going to now come back and start over at color number 1, or let's go ahead and add enough colors so that we've got 14 separate colors. How would we do that? We would come down to the bottom right hand corner, and you're going to see a green plus. So I want you to click on this plus. Keep clicking until you have 14 colors. So you can see we've gone ahead and added some more colors down here. Now with this run stitch, I'm going to go to color number 9. Right mouse click. So I've changed the color of the tack down, the trapping stitch, and now I'm going to grab my applique-stitch, and I'm going to change it to color number 10 by right mouse clicking. So now we have created a frame for our monogram. I'm going to come back up and fit to screen because I zoomed in so you could see real good. Oops. And I still have my zoom tool on, excuse me, to fit. Now, I need to put a letter in here. I want you to come up to your second toolbar. You've got two toolbars across here. I want you to come to the giant T, purple T if you're in Floriani Total Control Professional. If you are in Embroidery Suite Pro, you're going to have a black A over here. So let's left mouse click. I want you to just stick your cursor somewhere inside your circle, doesn't matter where, left mouse click. Now I am going to select ZAPH, Z-A-P-H. This is one of the 6 free fonts that when I sell software, I tell all my people when you register, we'll email you 6 free fonts. If you do not have this font, you can use another one, but make sure you email in to your software support and say Kathy said to send me my 6 free fonts. I have picked ZAPH. Now I want this to be 1.25, 1¼ inches tall. I am going to apply, and I'm also going to come to color number 11 and right mouse click. Now I want to center this in my circle. Now the easiest way to do that, of course, would be to select your circle, select your A, and tell it to right mouse click to align my center. And you notice my A is centered in here. Now obviously you may not want an A. In fact, I don't want an A. So you're going to pick the letter that you want this to be. Now mine is K for Kayla because this is Kayla's bag. So I'm going to apply. I'm going to select my letter. Hold down my control key. I'm going to select my applique stitch. Hold down my control key. Select my letter. Right mouse click and align your centers. And now my K is centered in here in my applique stitch. Now that looks a little tight to me because of the font I have picked. So I'm going to make my A just a little smaller. I'm going to make mine 1 inch. And again, I will make sure this is centered within my applique stitch. Right mouse click, align center, and now it looks real good in there. So what we have created, we've put down a zipper placement, tacked down our zipper, created the bottom half of our bag with the quilting, the top half of our bag with the quilting, that's what the stipple's for, put down our ribbon, framed either an applique or an applique stitch piece of fabric, and put our monogram in it. Now this bag is going to end up being fully lined as well, all in the hoop. So now what we need to do is we need to create the stitch that's going to tack our lining, sew our lining to the back of our hoop. We need to come in here, and you see where I have my stipple stitch in here. I want you to select the bottom half of your stippling, right mouse click. I want you to copy. I want you to right mouse click and paste. I want you to change to color number 12 by right mouse clicking on color number 12. And then I want you to right mouse click and convert this to a run stitch. So what we did is we know it's exactly the same size and placement as our front piece because we copied and pasted the front piece, and then instead of leaving it as a stipple fill, we changed it to just a run outline. Do the same with your top piece. Left mouse click to select your stipple. Right mouse click, copy. Right mouse click, paste. Change to color number 13. Right mouse click on color number 13. And then what you're going to do is right mouse click and convert this to a run. So as you can see, we now have the run stitch around here. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to create an outline stitch the size of the entire bag. So then when we put our back on, and we're going to turn it through the zipper, we will put the whole back on it. We'll put right sides together and stitch this bag together. So now I need a line the finished size of my bag. Now notice at the top here, it gives you the width and the height of your bag. Yours may not be exactly the same as mine. It just depends if you moved your placement a little or anything. But you've got a finished size up here. Make note of that. So I have one that is 5 7/6 inches wide and 8.37 inches tall. So come back over to our artwork tool. We'll change to color number 14. This is your final color. Come back over to our artwork tool. Left mouse click on the word rectangle. Draw yourself a rectangle. Select it. Right mouse, well, let's go ahead and transform it. And what are we going to transform it to? The numbers that are right here on top of your screen. Our width, and remember, deselect maintain aspect ratio now. Our width is going to be 5.76. My height is 8.73. I'm going to apply that. Now what I'm going to do is just nudge it. I'm going to move it around here till I know I've got it exact. Now remember, you can hold down your control key, and you can, if you need to kind of move it a little bit. I've got something a little crazy here. Let me see. Let's fit this whole thing to screen. Why does it say that's the finished size? Let me see what I've done here. Well, you know what? Something is crazy here, because that is not exactly the size of my bag. So I'm going to pull this up so it matches my bag. Don't ask me why. I don't have an answer. Oh, because I didn't put 3.7. I put the wrong number in. That's why. Tell you, sometimes. But I can see that that is right on. Let me get my outline here. That will be number 14. It'll be my last one. Let me grab it and make sure I'm centered on this. Let me see here. 14. Let's make sure we're in good shape here. And I can use my arrow keys to make positive. Now that I've got it there, it's artwork. We are going to right mouse click. We are going to convert this to a run. Now where it says standard, I'm going to drop down in our properties box where it says the word standard. I'm going to drop it down and go to motif. And I am going to select motif 104. And I'm going to apply that. Now what has happened here, and I'll zoom in so we can look at it. I have done this, so what's going to happen is it's going to run down the line and then it's going to finish the edge. Because we're doing this all in the hoop and I'm going to turn this, I don't want my purse edges fraying on the inside of the purse. By doing it this way, I don't have to worry about that, because it's kind of like doing a little overcast there on the edge. So now we have completed our in the hoop bag. So let's look real quick. If we go to View and Slow Redraw, right mouse click on the screen for, well, excuse me. Let's go to View, Slow Redraw, and come up into your View or Zoom box and tell it to fit. Now we can click our arrow and watch it draw. Okay, there is my zipper placement. There is my zipper tack down. It's now, and I'm going to pull my bar, if I move fast, it's going to do the bottom of my bag. It's going to do the top of my bag. Something is out of order. It's always nice to see. Okay, let me make sure. There's my ribbon placement. There we go. There's my K. Now it should, I think we did a step out of order, so that's fine. Let's bring our sequence view up, and let's right mouse click and collapse all. And let's look at what we've done. I've got my zipper placement, my zipper tack down, the bottom half. Now here's where I had a problem. Color number 12, somehow I've got it out of order. Because we did this, the next one should be my top. I don't know how I pulled this around, but I did. So I'm going to move this down. Now let's go back. Zipper placement, tack down, do the bottom quilting, do the top quilting. Now I need my ribbon placement. Somehow this got moved out of order. So I'm going to come drag 12 down below 11, and I'm going to grab 13 and drag it below 12. I don't know how I managed to drag those around or move them, but somehow I did, because we went down and changed the color with each step. So now we know it's going to be right. So let's go to View, Slow Redraw. Yours probably, you probably don't have to do that. Okay, there's my placement, my tack down, there's my stippling bottom. Now I should have my stippling top, perfect. I should have the placement line for my ribbon, tack down for my ribbon, placement line for my applique or applique stitch. Put my fabric down, or my applique stitch fabric, tack it down. I will now have a trapping line because mine is applique stitch. Then I will have my outline. There is our monogram. Now we are going to stitch our lining to the back, stitch our lining down, and now we are going to finish our bag. And now you have created a nice travel bag in the hoop. Now the size bag I have created, I wanted it to fit within my 6 7/8 by 10 inch hoop. If you do not have a hoop that size, you will need to size this bag smaller. So know that depending upon the limitations of your hoop, you may need to make a smaller bag. Conversely, if you have a huge hoop and you want to make a large bag, you can make your bag any size you want. Just note, your limitation is the entire stitching width of your hoop and the stitching length of your hoop. So according to that, you can make your bag. I hope you enjoyed this month's project of the month, and I hope to see you in the construction portion. Thank you for coming.